tell me when we're going. Okay, good morning, everyone. This is Mr. Philip Rich and family. And what we're going to do this morning is make some South Texas breakfast sausage. Very simple recipe. One of the best ones that we've found. You need a measuring container for water, measuring spoon, measuring cup. This is homemade chili pekin crushed red pepper. You can use store-bought if you like. Fresh sage and cayenne. And don't let this scare you. It's not going to be so hot that you run all the kids out of the house. And this is the most important thing other than the pork. Old Plantation. Old Plantation number 10, to be specific. No substitute here.
Where do you get that Old Plantation?
Most meat markets have it. If not, you can get it off the internet. Probably Amazon would have it. I'm doing this morning 5 pounds. I'm going to show you a recipe. I cut it down a little bit. When we're grinding with our big grinders in the deer camp, we make 15 pounds at a time. Now I'm going to show this recipe, and this is a 15-pound recipe. We're going to cut it down to 5 pounds just for demonstration. We're going to cook a piece and see what we think. But that's the recipe for 15 pounds. The big Hobart commercial grinders take about 15 pounds at a time, so that's what we have in the camp. Okay, we'll open it up, and we're going to be mixing this by hand. We bought this pork at the local meat market. We also have recently killed some wild pigs, and we'll be turning them into the sausage shortly. Broke this recipe down into what we're supposed to have according to our paper. We've got the ingredients. We've got chili pekin, we've got sage, cayenne, and number 10 Old Plantation. And we've got a cup of water. The water is extremely important. The federal government allows us so much water, or allows commercial operations. We're not one of them, but they allow so much water per pound of various product, and of course it helps them sell water for $3 a pound. Or in this case, this water is going to infiltrate the meat, take these ingredients, and go through the meat. I'll also mention that because there's water in it, of course it'll increase the weight, and it will go through what we call a bloom. It's best to leave this sausage overnight sitting in the refrigerator before you make it up and freeze it, and that way the ingredients transform into the tastiness of the sausage. I'm going to wash my hands once more. Well, I've just done that, but sometimes on YouTube you hear about washing your hands. So we'll do that again. Now, all we're gonna do is mix this meat up. Mike, would you pour it a little at a time into this? If you've got a meat mixer or a grinder, when you're grinding your own, you say you harvest a wild hog, you get your lean meat and you keep it separate from your fat. You want about 25% fat, at least according to my taste, in the sausage. But the reason you keep it separate, you grind your lean once through I believe it's a 3/8 plate, or the plate of your choice, whatever the consistency you like. But at any rate, you grind your lean meat, take your fat, and mix your spices with the fat, put it through your grinder, grind the fat and your spices together. Then you take that and take your ground fat with the spices, mix it with your meat, your lean meat, thank you, Mike, and run it through your grinder a second time. And that mixes it thoroughly. It's important to, when you're grinding meat for your sausage, to keep it almost frozen. That makes your grinder cut it sharper. If you grind meat when it's warm, it'll mash it into mush, and it's not a pleasant consistency. So, and it kind of hurts your hands to keep it almost frozen, but you know, big boys cry sometimes. That's what you got to do, and just keep rolling it till you think you've got it mixed thoroughly. Remember, normally at this point, I would take it, put it in the refrigerator, and let it bloom. The bloom is important. It's not life-threatening. If you didn't do it, if you went straight to the freezer, you'd be okay, but it would be better once it blooms. And what we're going to do, I guess we're about to the end of this, with the exception of cooking one and tasting it, and if it needs more of this or that, be careful about adding too much more of anything. I've taken years to tweak this recipe, and remember, a little goes a long ways, especially after the bloom. You could put another half a tablespoon of hot pepper in and think, hey, this is just right. And then tomorrow, your wife will throw you out of the house for not being able to eat it. It's so hot. So we'll get back with you and let you know how this tastes.